I am so excited that you've decided to do this journey with your daughter. Helping her grow confidence in her relationships is actually foundational to everything in her life. Her relationship with God, her relationship with you, her relationship with friends and her family. God made us relational, and at the core of that relationship is communication. In fact, you cannot practice healthy communication enough. We all think that we're great listeners. Even those of us who are not as talkative, we tend to think that, oh yeah, we've got this. But even as a paid professional, me, I have to practice intentional listening with my daughters because we're human beings. We've got hormones and bad days, and sometimes we get hangry. I had that happen just the other day with my daughter. There's a lot of things running interference, just the fact that we're busy. And we live in a digital age. It's hard to listen well. So I'm going to give you 3 steps to grow your relationship with your daughter as you listen deeply to her needs, her wants, her desires, helping her to put words to her little world. Now, the reality is that your daughter is probably starting to shift in her tone with you. This is the time when daughters start to get a little bit of an attitude and they're testing the boundary with you of what you can tolerate. So your first step is to take a deep breath and to not be offended, okay? Recognize that she's in a normal stage of life, and as you mirror back what you're hearing and trying to get to the essence of maybe her frustration or her annoyance, you're modeling to her healthy communication, but she's also going to have her brain calm down. The fascinating thing is God made it when we are actually engaging good listeners. Our body moves to a state of peace. When we are not being heard, our bodies start to get hijacked and we get overwhelmed and more flustered. So, as you become a better listener, you're going to see your daughter be able to calm down and you're going to connect on a deeper level. This is also good practice as you're preparing for those teen years. If you get this down now, you're going to have an easier time navigating all the things that your daughter is going to face in her teen years. Those years are really a key factor of when moms start to part from their daughters or when they go together. And I want you to remind your daughter you're for her. You're here to listen to her, to understand what her little world is about. And you're not trying to fix her, okay? So these 3 steps are easy to remember, harder to practice. Mirror, validate, empathize. And I do want you to tease them out. So mirroring is reflecting back what you heard your daughter say. The key here is trying not to interpret what she's saying, but actually mirror it back as if you were holding a mirror up to her. And it does feel like repeating her words a bit, but I'll tell you, we actually speak from a different part of the brain than we hear. So when she says something and she hears her own words back, it's going to make better sense to her, and she might have a chance to clarify and say, no, that's not what I meant, and then she can tell you something different. Sometimes just mirroring can be enough for your daughter to feel like, mom is paying attention. The second step is actually being able to validate what she's saying, not agreeing, but validating. And what this means is you're taking her glasses, the lens through which she sees the world, you're putting them on, and you're saying, I could see how you got to that conclusion. I can see why you feel that way. I can see why you're saying that. You do not have to agree with her to see it from her lens. That's really a key piece for a lot of us based on our wirings or just even our own experiences in life. It can feel like we're giving in or we're saying that's right when we validate someone. But by using the words, I can see how you got to that conclusion. I can see why you think that. It's a tentative way for her to feel like you're here for her and you are coming alongside her, kind of looking at the world from her vantage point. And she's not alone in that. The final step is empathy. Now, sometimes we get validation and empathy confused, but empathy is less about the logical way of I can see how you are seeing the world. It's actually about feeling the world. So much of this growing process for your daughter is learning to put words to her emotions. And the healthier we are, the quicker we can put those words to our emotions. And it takes time and practice. So you're helping her do this by mirroring back what you think she's emotionally feeling. And you don't want to tell her what she feels. Nobody likes that. You don't like that either. If I was like, you're angry right now, it doesn't feel good. It puts us on defense. So the way that you language it sounds like you're angry. It seems like you're sad. And give her a chance to correct you, to say, no, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Ah, you're disappointed. That ability to have space, margin, to process, to verbally feel things in a way that she's trying to make sense inside is not only helping her get grounded in her reality and make sense of her situation, but she's connecting with you and she's having an experience of being heard and known and seen and loved and cared for in real time. And that's not only going to transfer in her relationship with you, but also with her experience with God. So this is a video you want to come back to and be practicing again and again. You can practice this with your friends or with your spouse or with anybody around you before you do this with your daughter. But have grace for yourself because it's not the easiest. And sometimes I literally, no joke, am keeping a list on my hand as I'm listening to my girls. And I'm going, okay, start with mirroring. And once I'm done with mirroring, then I move to validating. And once I'm done with validating, I've got to make sure I've empathized. And once I've gotten to those three, I usually see a relaxing happening in my daughter's bodies. The temperature has calmed down between us. And then I ask, is there anything else? And most of the time, they're like, no, I got it. And if I need to have a conversation where it's my turn to talk, that's when I can say, are you willing to hear what I have to say too? And you'll find that when you listen well to your daughter, she's willing to hear your wisdom and your feedback. I think the only challenge with that is making sure you don't dismiss all of what you just did by going into fix mode or dismiss mode. But oftentimes, that's how you two are developing that safe relationship. So in each lesson, each month, you're going to have opportunity to do a lot of this. You're going to ask her a question, and then you're going to work on listening. And you're going to calm down. If you're starting to get defensive and overwhelmed, you might do a couple things. Here's a quick tip for you. Pay attention to your 5 senses. Focus on her eye color, the sound of her voice, look at her hair color. That'll help ground you in the moment and calm your body down. You can also feel yourself in the chair. You can take some deep breaths. But at the core of all of this, remember that a confident mama listens well to her daughter and that it's worth it because she's learning that she is valuable and loved and that you're here for her.